More issues. This time it's Cody Ware in the 51. Look out on pit road.
NASCAR driver Cody Ware is back home in Mooresville this morning after a crash shook him up in Texas. It knocked Ware out of yesterday's Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. Paramedics took Ware to the Infield Care Center where he was treated and then released. Team leaders say that Ware was tested to see if he had a concussion, but those tests came back negative. But it puts a spotlight on NASCAR's next-gen cars after other driver injuries and concussions in crashes.
NASCAR Cup Series champion Kurt Busch is one of those injured drivers. He's continuing his recovery from a concussion during a July qualifying crash.
And these incidents are, like we said, putting a spotlight on racing and the risk of head injuries. Queen City News reporter Brett Baldick is here to explain what could be causing these injuries. Brett, good morning.
Good morning, Jason and Ann Wyatt. The latest concussion is to Truck Series driver Josh Riome following a crash earlier this month at Bristol Motor Speedway. NASCAR has strict measures in place to ensure a driver doesn't return to racing before they recover, but things were not always that way. NASCAR has a history of spectacular crashes where drivers walk away unscathed.
Oh, Buescher's upside down.
Take this crash in May by Chris Buescher at the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte. He flipped multiple times, got out of the car uninjured, and even spoke with reporters.
Oh, hang on to it.
Then there is this crash from qualifying at Pocono Raceway in July. Kurt Busch was making a qualifying lap and backed into the wall. The crash may not look serious, but Busch has been sidelined with a concussion ever since.
I think the similarities between my situation in 16 and his are very similar. There's just no known time when this thing's going to come together for him.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. missed a majority of the second half of the 2016 season from a concussion. He estimates throughout his career he's had at least 20 of them. He's now an advocate for concussion health awareness, vowing to donate his brain to science. While Busch's crash didn't look serious, there was clearly something there. Could it be the sudden, violent movement of the car? After all, violent movements cause a concussion.
There is a jolt that happens that causes essentially a surge of some of the chemical things that happen inside the brain.
Dr. Kevin Burrows is a sports medicine physician with Atrium Health. He says a concussion is like a power surge to the brain. Doctors try to modify stress and activity to the brain in order for it to recover. Those recovery periods vary between patients. In NASCAR, every driver is required to visit an infield care center following a crash. Doctors administer what is called a SCAT-3 diagnostic tool, similar to the questionnaire seen here. These questions help determine if a driver has a concussion and when they are safe to return to the track.
Kurt's not the one sitting there going, I think I'm okay. It's really going to be somebody else's choice.
Now, it's the doctor's choice of when a driver can return to the track. NASCAR implemented new concussion protocols back in 2017. Before then, drivers like Dale Earnhardt Jr. admit they would race without being fully recovered, or even lie to doctors about their symptoms so they can race. So they've come a long way because, as we mentioned before, very dangerous to race while you have a concussion and can have consequences later on in life.
Yeah, you mentioned Kurt Busch sitting out until he's healthy. What's kind of been the fan and driver reaction with that decision?
So it's split. So obviously fans and drivers are glad that he is sitting out to recover, because obviously people forget driving a race car is a job. So he has a life after he's racing and when he retires. So they're glad at that aspect. But the drivers are a little upset and questioning the safety of this new car. They've brought it to NASCAR, and obviously NASCAR has a history of, if there is an issue, they will go ahead and change it. And there is just a few races left this season, and it's expected if there are any clear safety issues with the car, they will make those changes in the off season. But coming up in our 8:30 half hour, we'll take a deeper dive into the history of concussions and how the technology today makes it easier to diagnose and easier to let you know when drivers are able to return to the racetrack.
All right. Thank you, Brett. An important story on this Monday morning.